Hello, everyone. You are listening to Your Palm Beach Guide with the Palm Beach Chamber of Commerce. I am back. My name is Kiana Rivera, and I am the Vice President of Membership and Program Development here at the Chamber. And today, our special guest is Amy Kemp. Hello, hello.
Hello, hello.
We're so excited to have you. And Amy is on our board of directors. She's super impactful in the community. So you know the drill. We'll go ahead and read through her bio, and then we'll jump right in. So here's a little bit about Amy Kemp. Amy has led a diverse and impactful career journey at Florida Power and Light Company since 2016, embracing various leadership roles that have allowed her to contribute to the organization's success. Leveraging her finance background from the University of Central Florida, Amy has excelled in key positions including procurement management, operational budget oversight, and process improvement leadership. In her current role as External Affairs Manager for Central and Southern Palm Beach County, she serves, goodness, everybody makes mistakes, guys. Come on, here we go. She serves as a critical liaison between FPL and local government officials, business leaders, and community stakeholders. Amy's expertise in crisis management is particularly evident during severe weather events where she coordinates vital response and recovery activities. Her collaboration approach and commitment to mentorship have been hallmarks of her career, fostering strong team relationships and nurturing emerging talent within the organization. Amy's executive acumen extends to board memberships with the Palm Beach County Parks Foundation, the Greater Boca Raton Chamber of Commerce, and the Palm Beach Chamber of Commerce. Shout out us. Yes. And further solidifying her standing as a respected business leader in this region. So Amy, thank you for being here.
Thanks for reading that long bio.
I know, it was so long, but there's more, by the way. So we'll definitely jump into more of that because you are just so focused on your career growth here, and not even growth, but just your presence in this community. Like, you're everywhere.
Thanks.
I just can't believe it. And Central and Southern Palm Beach County, you cover a wide territory at FPL.
I do, about 19 cities if you want the exact number.
19. Oh my goodness. So when you are traveling with FPL, like, what are you doing on these travel days?
Sure. Yeah. So first, thanks for having me.
Oh, you're welcome.
I have loved the podcast and love your creativity behind it. So it's an honor to be with you today. My travels, it varies on the day. So my home base is our corporate office in Juno Beach. Okay. So very, very close by. And I try to be strategic with my time. One thing that throughout my career I've been mindful of is every minute, right, is a minute that you can spend with a customer, that you can spend supporting the chamber, supporting the community. So I'm very mindful of my time. But a meeting can be anything from helping with an undergrounding conversion project like the town of Palm Beach is going through right now, or permits. So it can vary, but it's very collaborative in nature, and can be anything from a conversation to a site visit where I have a hard hat and steel-toe
hard
boots,
hat.
So.
Yes. Oh my goodness. Well, and we're going to get more into FPL and just all the work that you've been doing there. But tell us a little bit about who you are, and like, are you from here? Are you from Palm Beach? Like, walk me through your life.
Sure. So originally I was born abroad. So I'm originally from Honduras. I grew up in Orlando.
Nice.
So go Knights. Shout out
I was going to say, I know, I was about to say, we're going to get to college and everything you studied. So you went to Orlando, grew up in Orlando. Orlando is an interesting spot, honestly. It's so different from where we are.
Oh, it's changed so much too.
For the better, hopefully. I
think so. I-4 is finally done, I think, until they start new construction. But I loved Orlando growing up. I mean, I was there from elementary school all the way through college. All the way through, wow. So I studied abroad for a bit. So I've lived in France.
Beautiful. Do you speak French?
I can read it very well.
Good.
But
good.
Don't ask me to
have a whole That's okay. Can't translate, to have a conversation. But reading, I mean, that's amazing. So you studied abroad, though. So when you went to college, what did you study? Were you always focused in like international business type stuff?
A bit. I was.
Okay.
I was. So little fun fact, when I was very young, I thought I either wanted to join the military or I wanted to go to business school. So high school was a very unique experience where I did our Navy JROTC program. Nice. And I also went through a finance magnet program at the same time.
Are you from a military family? Or?
I do have a lot of military in my family. Yes. Perfect. Yes. So I have a deep appreciation for veterans, for those that, give
Me
of
too.
themselves.
So that's great.
Yes.
Yeah.
But so I really ventured on that path of trying to figure out what was the best fit. And I ended up going the business route, still continuing to volunteer with our veterans.
Right.
But that led me to choosing UCF and then exploring what business meant throughout the world.
Right.
So,
and UCF is such a great school, honestly. I have so many friends that went there, and it's huge. I mean, I shouldn't say huge. I went to little old PBA, which I guess is not so little anymore compared to where, you know, when I was there.
And where it's going.
Exactly, and where it's going. But I just remember, like, everybody that went to UCF was like, they all had a great experience. And now they're back and excelling in their careers. So I think that's awesome.
And you should know, as a fun fact, the Palm Beach alumni chapter of UCF is actually the largest in the country. Yes. So I'm very proud of that, I'll tell you.
I'll have to say, so that's really interesting because when I was bartending at Steam Horse, we had a couple UCF parties there. And I was always like, who is it? Like this
Who
chapter?
knows? I was probably there.
I know you probably were, honestly, but I just remembered that. That's so funny you mentioned that because we did actually have a couple there. But so you travel abroad to France, but you're no stranger to international travel because you were in Honduras. And did you travel often? So it wasn't like a culture shock, or was it like you started brand new and it was, new for you?
Yeah, it wasn't too much of a culture shock. Okay. So my mom actually had studied abroad when she was in college. Perfect. So I come from a very well-versed travel family, if I can call it that. So she lived in Wisconsin when she was in college. She lived in Colombia.
Wisconsin.
Yes. Imagine the different changes. She has so many stories I could tell you.
Oh my gosh.
So I come from a very unique background in that regard. I had learned English from when I was very young. So I learned English when I was about 7 or 8.
Yeah.
And so it wasn't that much of a culture shock, but I think I was always very intrigued by different cultures, background. My mom has a background in business and teaching. Okay. So she was always very mindful of being a translator, if you will, right?
That's
it's important to understand business, but it's important to understand how people operate too. Right. So I attribute a lot of my upbringing to that background. Yeah.
Well, great parents, honestly, because truthfully, I feel like that really sets apart successful people sometimes and non-successful people. And when you have just the backing of your parents, it provides that stability, like you said. And it's like, I can do this. I can go to France. I can experience all of these things because I have a great, relationship at home, and that fosters that, business connections. So take me through, you get back from France and you're, about ready to graduate, and you're kind of like, I know I want to be in business, but where do I go now? Or did you do the homework when you were in school to line up a job after graduation?
I did. In case you haven't noticed, I am a little bit of a type A personality.
I love it. It's good.
So I had internships all throughout my years in college. Okay. So I also lived in Colorado for some time for some work.
Nice.
I lived in St. Pete. And so my goal had been to actually line up a job before my fall semester ended.
Right.
I had the dream of my spring semester being the best semester, right? And so I was already looking for positions in my field, but I had actually never considered the utility world.
Okay.
I grew up in Central Florida, so I didn't know FPL.
Right.
I knew our other local utility providers, but I thought, I'm not an engineer, so how do I get into that kind of business, right? So I was pursuing other opportunities, and I got career fair, believe it or not.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
I was going for a last round of interviews with another company. And
last round of interviews. So like you were already pretty much there, ready to make that decision.
I was almost there. I had, if I look back, right, I had in my mind done everything perfectly. I had done the internships, I'd done the classes, I had followed the career prepping, right?
The whole nine. You're preaching to the choir.
Everything. And I met recruiters from FPL, and we had such a pleasant conversation. I was so intrigued by the culture and the way that as a company they use technology and just how they treated their people that it led to many other conversations, and next thing you know, I I gave everything, right, that I wanted, and I went with FPL.
So you've been with FPL since you were out of college.
I have, yeah.
Holy cow.
Close to 10 years now. Can you believe it?
That's a long time. That's such a long time. I love that, though, because again, FPL is amazing. And just the work that you guys do, not only for the community, but you just set the standard.
Thank you for that.
You set the standard for how business should be conducted, how leadership should be managed, and your culture, like you said. And everyone that I talk to that's from FPL or Nextera or any branch that's under the FPL world have been there for a long time. It's like a career. This is their career, and they choose to be there day in and day out. So I think that's great.
You know, it's interesting you say that. When I had that interview then with FPL, I remember I got the opportunity to meet with a couple employees, and one of them was also a UCF grad.
Okay.
He had been with the company, I think at that point, maybe 3 years. There was someone else that had been there for 40 years.
40?
There was someone that was there for about 15. And I remember thinking, gosh, what could they do to these people that they stay for so long, right? And now here I am.
You're like, why? Wow,
how
are they
why
here?
Why did I not come earlier?
I love that, though, because I think, and I've never heard of that when you get to hire somebody, they let you talk to other employees, which is awesome.
Yeah, you know, I think we're very mindful of not only employee engagement, but having the opportunity to really get to know the role, right, and how we contribute.
Right.
I, unfortunately, but fortunately too, have been privy to just live through so many hurricanes, right, that I think our commitment just to our customers and our community really goes deeper than just our operations and our business. So I think we're very mindful, right, of making sure that we have a good fit for our employees and making sure that it's a good fit for the company too. Yeah. Because then it's a good fit for the customers.
For everybody, yeah. I think that's great. So real quick, you're listening to Your Palm Beach Guide with the Palm Beach Chamber of Commerce. Our special guest today is Amy Kemp. She is the External Affairs Manager for FPL, and you transitioned into hurricanes. So let's talk about that because it's around the corner again.
Oh, it is.
And what can you tell people these transplants who've come here that they've never been through a hurricane? We've been fortunate enough, knock on wood, that no major one has hit Palm Beach County at least.
For quite some time.
Right. And I grew up here, so I've lived through like every hurricane possible, it seems. But then we have what we experienced last year where these hurricanes are going places that are not fit for that, like the one in New York, the one in North Carolina. Yeah. I mean, oh my gosh. So like, what do you tell people who are like, hurricanes, they're only in Florida? Like, I don't know, like what even you're talking about. So what do you tell people?
I tell them to prepare.
Yeah.
And I want to take it even a different route. So even if you have lived in Florida for quite some time, we're seeing that storms are getting stronger. And we're also seeing tornadoes.
Yeah,
right?
That was so crazy.
It was, and it doesn't stop there. We had a snowstorm.
Oh, right? I remember that. Yeah,
I totally Panhandle.
That was a real one too. There was like real snow.
I had coworkers that they were in 8 inches of snow, if not more. And so you have bucket trucks, right, that are having to travel through the snow. So. Anything is possible in just the world we live with weather events. I mean, tornadoes are becoming so much more of a regular occurrence, it seems, right? I mean, look at Avenue.
Oh, and and Gardens. I guess you're right. I totally forgot about them.
But so back to your question, I think it's you have to prepare, right? Make your necessary preparations as it relates to your medications. If you are on any type of equipment or have family, right, that need some type of electricity to have life-saving equipment, trust that we'll do our due diligence to support and restore as quickly as possible, but make those preparations because it is something that sometimes can be unexpected, right? Like tornadoes, but when a hurricane comes, you have to rely on your planning, right, to make sure that
is so true. Ready. I'm glad that you mentioned that because so many times I feel like us Floridians are just nuts. We're crazy sometimes, and we're like, "Oh, it'll be fine."
Hurricane party, you mean?
Oh yeah, yes. Let's call it what it is. Hurricane party. I've attended a few, yes, but I do prepare. So I do say I do. I have my bin that has my batteries, the backup radio. I think like I have peanut butter and tuna, and like gallons and gallons of water. And I forget to mention that some people don't know this, but when your power goes out, if you fill up your tub with water, you can use that to flush your toilet.
That's right.
And nobody really thinks about that until I had a friend who lived here forever who was like, yeah, make sure you do this for all of your stuff. I was like, oh, that's a good idea. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
But I love that you said to prepare, because we have to, ultimately it comes down to us and prepping just with everything you need, especially with medication. So I'm glad that you mentioned that. Now walk me through your day-to-day process. You are in response mode to a storm. It's hit. You are restoring power. Like, what does that day-to-day life look like for the period that you're doing it in? Because I don't think people realize how much you guys do during this storm. Like, you are the front end, you know?
Absolutely. No, thanks for that. So even on a bad weather day, right, that we can have on a regular summer day, we're always preparing. So we do have meteorologists that are constantly tracking the weather. So just as a reminder, hurricane season does start June 1st.
Yep, June 1st.
So make sure
Mark
you
your
have
calendars.
But so we actually start preparations up to 72 hours before.
Wow.
So my day-to-day 72 hours before looks very different than the day-to-day. So I'll tell you, when we know that there's a potential storm impact, right? We've been tracking it. We're already running models to see where the potential impact could be, right? We start deploying crews. We make our own preparations. So anytime there is a storm, I leave my husband and I make sure that he is set to go. But my storm role specifically has me at the Palm Beach County Emergency Operations Center, the EOC.
Really?
So I leave my home and I hunker down with our Palm Beach County counterparts.
Really?
And I become that liaison for the county. So when Milton impacted, and when those tornadoes were impacting in Wellington and Palm Beach Gardens, even in Stewart, I was at the EOC watching those tornadoes go through, and immediately after, we were dispatching crews to partner with the county to make sure that the community could get back to its feet. So the day-to-day can differ. I mean, it depends on the path. It depends on our role. Many people don't know that FPL employees, as part of our employment, we actually have what we call a storm role. So during storm season,
Oh, okay.
everyone has a specific role that is meant to support our community in our storm restoration. So my role being in government affairs, if you will, I support Palm Beach County.
Okay.
And so I follow the Palm Beach County Emergency Operations Center. I sit at the desk with, all of the Palm Beach County employees, and we make sure that we have a strong collaboration to support and communicate, right? Because at the end of the day,
clearly,
especially when we're going through a restoration effort, we can make plans, right, where we can position the crews, where we can have the most resources for customers. But when it comes down to it, people want to know what's going on, right? And how we're preparing. So a large part of it too is making sure that we're sharing the information and the resources of what we're doing so that people can have that confidence to know that we're working on it.
I think too, I love what you said there, because you are the key communicator when it comes to that crisis.
Right.
And our first response immediately is fear. And even if you hadn't been directly impacted, you're still hunkering down, waiting for the storm to pass, and you're just waiting and waiting. And that season of waiting can be, really intense sometimes. So I love that you, when you talk about crisis management, and even in your bio, like, this is your role. Like, how has the training that you've been provided really prepped you for this position? Because you came into FPL right out of college, and now you're in this really key role. Like, what is those years leading up to this role now that have prepped you for this moment?
Yeah, I look back and I feel so grateful for the type of training, the mentors, the opportunities. I won't say for the hurricanes, because those are always tough, but that's how you learn too, right? I look back and during a storm season, you truly do see the value of community. You learn on the spot, right? I mean, I can tell you Hurricane Irma was completely devastating, for our coast, but that was probably one of the storms where we saw not only how our technology and our preparations worked, but how we as a team came together. So I can look back and I can see and remember my first storm where all of my team members were deployed, as we say, and they were in, staging sites, as we call them, where all of our bucket trucks are set up, where we're basically ready, right?
To deploy at any time. Okay, got it.
Yes. So we have many different sites. So we have our staging sites where we basically pre-position crews to be ready. So when the storm comes and when it passes, as soon as it's safe to go out, we can basically go out.
So, and for those crew members, where are they staying? Are they staying on site, on location that says at any moment, it's like, we're ready to go?
It depends. So we can either partner with local hotels to make sure we have a room block. We do have mobile campers that we have.
Okay.
So similar to the EOC where there's cots, right?
Yeah.
For team members to sleep. That's the same. I mean, you're there to serve, right? The community. So, I mentioned those examples because when you're going through a journey like a hurricane and you're seeing your different team members and the roles, and you're seeing just how we as a company prepare and operate, but you also see our technical improvements, right? I mean, from 04 to 05 to last year's storm, our restoration process has significantly improved, right? But our technology has also held up. So seeing the improvements from a technical perspective from our company, seeing the experience from my colleagues, and then also learning from day to day, I think all those combined help give a little bit of a calmness, right, to the storm.
It does,
so that you can prepare and you can say, okay, I know what my team does. I know what my role is. I know how our operations works. This is how I can contribute. And I'll tell you, it's probably one of the most fulfilling parts of the role, at least to me. And I can tell you, I can speak for many colleagues as well, that during a storm season, you are actually leaving your home behind, right? And you are committed to making sure power is restored as quickly as possible. And that right there, I think just speaks volumes about the culture of our company and the commitment that we have to our customers. And that is probably the biggest lesson and teaching that we feel as employees.
Well, and I think too, I love that you said that, because you leave your home, you leave your husband, and you go to your forwardly serving the community first, and then you go home once it's been restored. And I love that you guys have that culture. And I think that's why FPL is so successful in all of the avenues that you guys cover across the state. I mean, you just, again, going back to my original point, you set the stage for expectations of how to do business, of how to be a leader in this industry, and of course to serve the community well. And I think you guys really show that through and through with everyone a part of your team. So I want to transition real quick. Let's talk about your role at the chamber. So you are now a board member.
I am.
And one of, I think we had like 13 or 14 board members. So you are a leader in this field. And what kind of made you join the chamber? And, are you excited about our growth, or tell us if we need to change anything? I mean, we're open, so let me know.
No, I'm so excited and so honored to be able to collaborate with local business leaders as well. What draws me to the different chambers, so the Boca one in Palm Beach, to use as examples, is the focus on really helping celebrate the success of our business community, the economic development impact that the chambers have, because it's one thing to have a focus on supporting our community, through a philanthropic arm. But the business community, is truly our future. And so as a company, we have such a focus on making sure that we help support the infrastructure, the growth. Just in Palm Beach County alone, we have partnered with so many different organizations that we've brought in. I mean, talk about probably hundreds of thousands of roles. I think the last statistics I saw was that with partnering with other business stakeholders, we've helped bring in about $250 million in capital investments.
Oh my gosh.
So when you talk about the community aspect of business, I think that's what excites me more, that we are your neighbor, we are a fellow business partner, and so to have a seat at that table, to make sure that we hear from the local business community, here's what's important to me, here's what we're trying to do. It helps us be a better steward, of the business community. And so I love being able to be that liaison, to be able to support. And I think the chamber is doing such a fantastic job. I mean, you're growing so much.
So
when it
fast.
Comes to your
it's
events.
so good.
I know,
it's so good.
I know. So I love being able to be a part of those conversations with Doug and Robbie and the team, and
everybody,
and say, here's where we're at, but here's our vision, and here's how we're going to continue growing as a chamber. And I think that's probably the most exciting part, that I can be a part of that with you all.
I think too, it's awesome because there's over 16 chambers in our county. Over 16 just in Palm Beach County alone. And I tell our members all the time, I'm like, try them all. Go get a ticket to an event, experience what that chamber has to offer to see what suits your business best. And I love that because you're involved in multiple chambers. Our members are involved in multiple chambers too. So it's like we are all collaborative with our business partnerships and where we're moving forward with the sole purpose of helping you achieve your goals as a business in Palm Beach County. And I think that is not only what sets us apart as the chamber on the island, but also just where we're headed and what the future looks like is really exciting.
Absolutely. No. And, when you look at just our state as a whole, right? I mean, when I look back at 1925, and I say that as an example because we're celebrating our centennial this year.
Nice.
And I look back and I say, wow, how the state has changed, right, in 100 years.
Wow.
And when you look back, right, at how the chamber has changed in the last 5, 10, 15 years, the change of our economic makeup, right? As a state, as a county, it really stems to those investments by the local business community. So just like all the businesses on Worth Avenue, right? I mean, they have such strong roots, right, to the island. But to make sure that we can continue preserving that growth, that development, having a focus on the economic development of the island is crucial. It is. Right? I mean, for every single part of the community. So I think that's why chambers are so important. Yeah. I know that wasn't your question, but
no, but I totally agree. I totally agree. And I love that you said that. So I think that's awesome and definitely on point with what we're talking about. So any last thoughts you can leave with us just about FPL, about where they can find you to learn more about you and your role? Tell us.
Sure. No, we're so proud to be your neighbors, to be your local utility provider. We started as a small collection of enterprises. People don't often know that. So in 1925, we were this collection of 35 mules of an ice plant and a sponge fishing boat. That's our in-house incubator.
Okay, got it. Yes. Perfect. Sorry. Good.
So we do have our own in-house incubator, and it is purposely named 35 Mules.
That's awesome.
In honor of our very humble beginnings, because just like startups, right, with the proper mentorship and support, you can do and be whatever you want to be.
Well, I'll have to have you back on because I want to talk about 35 Mules specifically. We had them, I think it almost been a full year ago, that we had 35 Mules at our trustee lunch. And I forget the woman's name.
It's probably Danielle.
I think so. Yep. And it was awesome. So we're going to have you back on to talk about 35 Mules because that alone, I mean, we had a whole event.
That's a whole,
I know, we had a whole event about 35 Mules. So, but back to what you're saying, you're celebrating your 100 years. So 35 Mules is a start.
35 Mules is a very strong representation of our humble beginnings. So I'm proud to just be able to represent that humble beginning, but that continued growth. Our focus as a company is to continue supporting, all of our 12 million customer accounts, to continue having a focus on diversifying our energy, focus on making sure we have reliable electricity so that then we can have those low bills for our customers. So we're proud to be your community partners and so happy to support the chamber. So very, very thankful for you.
Amy, thank you for being on today. And please, she's on our board. So please, if you ever want to connect with her, she'll be at the breakfast, all of our other events. But
find me on LinkedIn. Absolutely.
LinkedIn, of course. And just thank you for being on today.
Thanks, Kiana.